Yeah, it's still March the 11th, everybody, 2010. I finished that little article, or tried to finish off that thing about financial terrorism and George Soros, and I just wanted to one final thing I just want to say about it before I move on. Grace, you better do something, because if you don't do anything, they're going to gut you, and if you do something, they might gut you, but at least you'll have done something. Alright? So don't be rolling over like a patsy. Okay? You're a sovereign country. Do something. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is had a meeting last night at Bishops. This is about the church. Had a meeting last night. I put links up to these two articles, by the way, both about the Catholic Church. One leads from one and the other, and they relate to a man called Christopher Jones. He's a doctor, Dr. Jones, and he's a bishop of Elphin, wherever that is, somewhere down the Irish countryside, and he's the man who's in charge of the Bishops' Committee on the Family. And I met last night in Meadows. That's about 15 miles away from me here. Okay, and he said the following: of course we have made mistakes. Now this is a man with a doctorate. Now I'd say that doctorate is probably in one of the following doctorates. It'll be in either canon law, philosophy, or theology. That's what it'll be in. Okay, and he's making a massive, profound statement here. Of course we have made mistakes. This is a doctorate, a guy with a PhD on the subject. But why this huge isolation of the church and this huge focus on cover up in the church when it's been going on for centuries? Yes, Dr. Jones, been going on in your church for centuries. From the earliest documented cases are 1640. The Piarists in Rome, a whole order was stood down for sodomizing and buggery. A whole order. We've already covered it in one of these articles here, in one of these postings. It says, it's only now for the first time ever that victims have been given their voice. Dr. Jones said it was known that 95% of abuse out there is in families, communities and other institutions. It's all a cover-up. No one wants to admit in a family that there's a problem of that nature. I'm not justifying it. I see where you're coming from, Dr. Jones. We're all at it. We're all paedophiles. Now, Dr. Jones, I want to tell you something about the world, about life. I wish I had 5 minutes of my time with you, but I won't get. I might put a link down to you and see if I can get your email. I should have a look at this video. I want to tell you. I'd say your doctorate is in one of those 3 subjects that I mentioned. So I'm sure you're quite aware of what I'm going to say. Go to any serious defined dictionary and look up the concept, look up the word culpability. It's at the centre of our whole law system. But you don't, well, I don't know in relation to canon law what it is, because that's a total aberration. That canon law, that's a joke law system, that is. Of course based on monarchy. But the bottom line about it is, in our civil law system here that we operate in this country, culpability is at the core of it. A thing called intent. You should know that better than anybody, Dr. Jones. The village idiot who rapes a young boy, and the priest who has a degree in theology who rapes a boy. How can you compare the two men? You can't. The act's the same, but the intent is entirely different. The man who abuses people within his family, nobody's trying to justify that. Nobody's trying to defend the indefensible. This is a Jesuitical response that you're coming off with to a major problem. Your organisation should hang its head in shame. Many of the men who are under your tutelage and under your control, who carried out these abominations of acts, didn't do it on one child, didn't do it on 2 children. Lots of them did it on hundreds of children, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. That's only what we know about. This didn't go on. This didn't go on for 5 years or for 2 years. This has been going on for 70, 60, 70 years here in Ireland, at least, that we know about. Anyway, the whole thing's just an abomination. But I don't like men like you, Dr. Jones, applying logic, as I say, Jesuitical logic, to trying to defend the indefensible. It's not defensible. Don't be trying to shite that everybody's at it. Ergo, we're no more guilty than anybody else. Oh yes, you are, because you get up there on a Sunday morning and tell us how we should lead our lives. You set down the moral and ethical basis for our existence on this world. From children are no high, from their 2 or 3 or 4. You have them in your care and you indoctrinate them. Anyway, have a read of this article. Interesting article. Shows you the distortion and the logic of these people. The next thing I want to talk about is an article from Rome. And it's funny, but it's not funny. And it relates to a man called Father Gabriel Amorth. And he sounds a sinister name already, isn't it? Amorth. Alright? Something to do with death, that is, isn't it? It's like an aberration of death. But he is the chief exorcist of the Vatican. And he's been the Vatican's chief exorcist for 25 years. He's 85. He's probably about to jump in the box, right? And he says he's dealt with 70,000 cases of demonic possession. He's probably a bit off his rocker himself. My grandfather used to tell me that madness was a contagion. To stay away from mad people, he used to say to me. How right he was. How right he was. But he said, oh yes, he said that the Pope fully believes in liberation from evil because the devil lodges in the Vatican. Naturally, it is difficult to find proof for this, but you can see the consequences. Alright, he said the consequences included internal Vatican power struggles, as well as cardinals who do not believe in Jesus, bishops who are linked to the devil, and when one speaks of the smoke of Satan in the holy rooms, it is all true, including these latest stories of violence and paedophilia. So it's all down to Satan. That's what it's all down to. It's all down to Satan. Boys are boys. I must try that out. I must give out leaflets down to the what do you call it? Down to forecourts. Next time there's serious criminal cases going on down there, or go down to the latest courts down there on the Liffey and give out a couple of little leaflets. And that would be a fair claim, wouldn't it? Of innocence. Satan. It's all down to Satan. And quote your man. Quote him. He's a chief exorcist of the Vatican. So, unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. He says that Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin were both possessed by the devil. And he would have been alive at the time. 85. Oh yeah, he would have been alive at the time. I wonder when Stalingrad happened, was he thinking about that? When von Paulus's army fell at Stalingrad and World War II came to an end, effectively. Of course, the history of World War II was changed over a period of about 4 months, 5 months, on the steppes of Russia. What was he thinking that then? Anyway, he says that Satan has infiltrated the Vatican. Whole thing, I tell you, you couldn't make all this up. It's like the Ravens are lunatics. You couldn't make it all up. I mean, if rational people all were talking like this, what would happen is, if ordinary people started to talk like this and behave like this, what would happen is, at about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, the white coat brigade would come and rap on the door. Ding, ding, ding. Just sit in that chair there. Good luck. See you. Bye. Off for your man. That's what would happen. Wouldn't be seen. Wouldn't be head in a hurry. You wouldn't be seen. You'd be gone. Locked up in a mental institute for the rest of your life. He's singing the birds and all that. These fellas, it's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. So we've got bishops telling us now we're all at it. We're all paedophiles, and they're just one of many. We're all paedophiles. We're all, and the Satan's taken over the Vatican. So that explains it all.